Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. It's Monday morning, and before you go about your day, your week, this month, the same old way, getting the same old results, I want you to consider that you have tremendous power locked up within you. You have creative potential. Everything you see around you was once an idea that was conceived in someone's imagination. The car you're driving, the home you're living in, the bed you slept in, the work that you're going to do today was all in someone's imagination. And all images that originate in the imagination are referred to as fantasies. The work that you're about to do, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether it's your own business or you're an employee working for someone, that was in someone's imagination before it became your work, your job, your occupation, your career. The jobs that are available now, the work that people are doing in this day and age, were a fantasy 5 or 10 years ago. And think about the jobs that people did in the 1930s or the 1700s. There are no longer people shoveling coal to get a steam engine to work to take a train across the country. The car that you're driving in, now we have electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles. Not that long ago, people were riding around in horse and buggy. The vehicle was created through someone's imagination because they wanted to be able to move faster, to get from place to place in a more efficient manner. What do you dream about? Something that you wish would be better, something that you get frustrated with and you wish would be easier. If you take the time to think about solutions, you can come up with a brand new way of living, a new invention, something that helps the world operate differently. You are as creative as Thomas Edison, Steve Jobs, Mother Teresa. Whatever you can think about, you can bring about. But it takes focusing your attention on what you really want and not just going about doing the same old things in the same old way, because the same old things done in the same old way create a pattern. And if there's a pattern in your life that you wish was different, you're the only one who can change that. First, it takes awareness, it takes noticing it, it takes realizing that you've maybe become stuck or do things in a routine manner that isn't serving you anymore. In July 2026, there's something that you may want to change that you may have been doing for the last year or 5 or 20. What would you have be different in your life? To exercise your creative facility, your imagination, you begin by building a fantasy. Think about all the things that we do automatically, that we take for granted, that were fantasies. Flying airplanes, the vehicle you're driving, the cell phone that you're using. They all began as fantasies. you start to exercise your creative faculty by building a fantasy. You mentally begin to play with that fantasy until you take it seriously. Then you flip from using your imagination to using your reasoning factor, another one of your intellectual faculties. So you get quiet, you get relaxed, you allow some thinking time. It's said that Albert Einstein used to sit quietly holding a little metal ball, and if he drifted off to sleep, his hand let go of the ball and it crashed into a metal pan on the floor and woke him up. He was getting into a state of creativity, going from the waking state to an alpha and theta state so that he could get creative ideas. You have 6 mental faculties or intellectual faculties, and you can start to use all of them. Imagination is one, and your reasoning factor is another one. You can build a fantasy in your imagination, and by developing your will, you can hold that picture until more ideas start to flow to you. And pretty soon, just like Walt Disney or the Wright brothers or Albert Einstein or Steve Jobs, you come up with a solution that you've never thought of before. And maybe you don't think you're very creative, but perhaps there's a way that you see something can be done differently at work, more efficiently. Oftentimes we come up with an idea and our peers or our bosses think we're crazy, or they say that'll never work. We've always done it this way. How many times have you been frustrated with that kind of thinking? Well, perhaps it's time to start your own business or to retire from what you're doing that's draining you. I know someone who was told, you're not paid to think, you're just paid to do the job, get back to work. We are all creative beings. When you build an idea clearly in your mind, that image starts to turn into a theory in your conscious mind. And before the theory can turn into a goal that you're going to make happen, you first ask yourself, am I able to do this? When you take into consideration that the only 2 sources of reference that we have to go to are science and theology with respect to human potential, all the most brilliant scientists and theologians who have ever lived, they answer this same question. Everything is energy. Your thinking is energy, and your potential is infinite. So, are you able to do what you want to do? Of course, the answer is yes. You must believe fully in your idea that it's, if you have the idea, if you have the picture in your mind, if you know what you really want, you plant that desire in your heart, you hold the picture in your mind, ideas come to you, and then you take action. You can create what you really, really, really want. We just usually play out the same day over and over and over again and call it a life or wonder why things aren't changing. It's because we continue to take the same actions. We continue to hold on to the same emotions of fear, anxiety, worry, doubt, anger, resentment, those things have no place in what you really want. If you believe that your potential is infinite, that you have the intelligence, the strength, the will, the creative ability to create what you want, then ask yourself, am I willing? Am I willing to do whatever is required to bring my fantasy into reality, to cause the picture in my mind to manifest in physical form in my life? And when your answer is yes, yes, I'm willing, yes, I'm able, then that fantasy has become a theory, and now it becomes a goal. And then when you turn your goal over to the universal subconscious mind, you might say, leave it up to God, let the universe take care of it. The laws of the universe kick in, and the first law, perpetual transmutation of energy, takes over. And your goal begins to move into physical form. But it doesn't just appear magically, it moves into form with and through you. It causes your behavior to change. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy says that everything is energy and everything moves into form and out of form. Bob Proctor used to say, even a dead body is moving, it's energetic. That's how it turns to dust. Your ideas that are in your mind, in your imagination, in the invisible fourth dimension, become real through your thinking and your acting. But you must feel as if it's possible. You must believe that it's true. You must hold that image, and as you get more ideas and you take action on those ideas, everything that was once a fantasy has become reality. And your idea will transmute into physical form when you stop looking for the how and let go of all the reasons why it can't happen. Your behavior starts to change. And as you have belief and get into the resonance of your goal, feeling as if it's already done, whether it's living in a new home, driving a special car, having a relationship the way you want it to be, creating something out of nothing, it becomes fact through the various stages of creation: fantasy, theory, fact, action, reaction. When you get emotionally involved with a beautiful goal, it will override all your old paradigms and reasons and excuses, and it becomes your new reality. That's how everything has ever been accomplished. Do you find sometimes life is a little bit dull or boring? Life can be an exciting adventure, but you must make the excitement. You must discover the adventure. You must be all in on a beautiful idea that you really want, because you wouldn't really want it unless it was meant for you. So let go of the excuses, Stop blocking it. Learn how your self-sabotage has been holding you back, and give up the fight against what you don't want and spend more time thinking about your goal already accomplished, your wish fulfilled. Bob Proctor says goal setting is the essence of life. Now, I used to hate the word goal because I was worried about failing. I was worried that it would be too hard, it would take too long. But don't worry about the end result. Don't worry about how you're going to get there. Just think about what it is that you really want, not for external praise, but for the inner reward. It's important to be constantly growing because energy is constantly moving, constantly changing, and you are constantly changing. But if you don't allow yourself, if you don't let yourself change into what you want, it feels like you're living the same day over and over and over. If you set a goal that you truly desire, some people want to climb Mount Everest, and then if you don't prepare properly, if you find yourself in the valley, you might give up hope and turn around and go back to base camp. There will be challenges. There will be days that it feels like you're in the valley of the shadow of death and that there's no way you're going to get your goal. But on those days, it's important to strengthen your belief, to persevere, to believe in the beauty of your wish fulfilled. What does it mean to be at the top of Mount Everest and planting your flag? If that is something that your heart desires, it will take effort, it will be a challenge, and goals are here to strengthen you, to have you grow and become a better person, a better parent, a better spouse, a better professional. If you're not growing, you're dying. You want to be constantly improving, but even 1% better today makes you a better person, and 1% every day will change your life. Bob Proctor wrote an article on goals, and he calls it the essence of life. And he tells a story about a couple, Chris and Stan Rasmussen, and they sent Bob an article that was written about the late John Goddard. And Proctor says, I doubt if Goddard had a dull or boring moment in his life. When he was 15 years old, he listed 127 challenging goals which he tenaciously pursued. Among his challenges, he listed exploring the Nile, the world's largest river, and the Congo, the second largest, climbing Mount Everest, as well as the Matterhorn in a raging blizzard, running a 5-minute mile, and playing Clair de Lune on the piano. He fulfilled all of those goals. Do you have a list of goals that you want to accomplish in this lifetime? Do you have a bucket list? What is it that you truly desire? What do you want to do someday that seems so big and so bold and maybe so far away, but you will feel so accomplished in doing that. When Bob Proctor wrote this article, John Goddard had accomplished 108 of the 127 challenging goals that he wrote down at the age of 15. A new goal that was not on that original list was flying the sleek supersonic B-1 bomber that the US's Air Force had as their most advanced plane. It can fly at supersonic speeds unnoticed under a radar blanket. And he made that flight on November 3rd, 1989, in Abilene, Texas, after gaining approval from the Secretary of the Air Force. Goddard had already flown 47 different types of aircraft, including the F-4 Phantom, F-11 fighter bomber, and the F-106 Delta Dart. John Goddard climbed 12 of the world's highest mountains. He conducted 14 major expeditions into remote regions. He traversed 15 of the world's most treacherous rivers. He visited 120 countries, and he studied 260 primitive tribes. How does your life look in comparison? Maybe you don't want to climb Mount Everest, but I encourage you to get out of your comfort zone, to set a goal that scares and excites you at the same time. Goal setting is the essence of life. Set a goal not for external praise, but for the inner reward. Human beings must have action. If you're doing the same thing over and over and over and getting bored, getting frustrated, wondering why life isn't an exciting challenge, look for something that is outside of your comfort zone. He who attends to his greater self becomes a great man, and he who attends to his smaller self becomes a small man. Periods of tranquility are seldom prolific of creative achievement. Mankind has to be stirred up. What stirs your soul? What would you love to do or be or have that you haven't accomplished yet? What would you love to be known for? To me, leaving a legacy doesn't mean leaving a bag of money for your loved ones. Leaving a legacy means, how will people reflect about your life? What will people say in the eulogy? How have you affected your loved ones, your community? How has your life improved the life of others? Do you know, it's not the house that you were going to build that you never built, or the business that you were going to start, or the car that you long to own, or the trip that you were going to take. If you don't have a goal, make up your mind this very instant that there is something that you're going to do. How many people have gone to their grave with the music still in them because they didn't go after that big, beautiful dream that they truly desired? Make up your mind this very instant that there's something that you've always wanted to do, that you're going to accomplish it. Absolutely refuse to wait another day to begin working toward your goal. Forget about waiting until all your circumstances are favorable. The start is what stops most people. Start right now. Begin by making a clearly defined written statement of a goal that you truly desire. Bob Proctor used to encourage people to take a little goal card, write your goal on a card and carry it with you and read it many times every day. That might sound a little bit silly or unnecessary, but believe me, it works for everyone who does it. This one act is what separates the poor from the rich, the weak from the strong, the sad from the happy. The most fulfilled human beings are the one who are always pursuing meaningful goals. People with goals succeed because they know where they're going. It's as simple as that. The most successful people have goals that other people think are impossible or fantastic. It takes writing it down in the present tense, believing that it's not only possible, but that it's here now, getting into the energetic vibration of how you will feel now that the goal is accomplished, because emotional involvement with your goal will override all the paradigms, the worry, the doubt. It will help you go through the fear. It will help you persevere when it seems impossible. Your goal card must pull at your heartstrings. It must be something that you want more than anything. And you must spend the time feeling as if it's already done. It's here now. How do you feel now that your beautiful goal has been accomplished? Take the time to get into a quiet space, to feel it, to write about it, and to write one sentence down on a little goal card and carry that with you so that you remind yourself where you're going, and then turn the how over to the universe. Imagine your wish fulfilled, visualize it, feel it, and allow that energy to go out into the universal energetic world and draw to you all the people, all the resources, all the circumstances that will allow you to grow into that beautiful goal. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.